August 18th, 1889, a day Colombia would never forget. That evening, a presidential candidate, Luis Carlos Galán, took the stage at a political rally in the city of Soacha, a town just outside Bogota. A crowd of hopeful citizens gathered to hear him speak, unaware that the tragedy was minutes away. Gunfire erupted. A shooting had occurred in this rally. From down below the stage, gunshots were coming out. Galán collapsed. Bullets had torn through his chest and legs. Panic swept through the plaza as chaos unfolded. 10 others were injured. The scene became a war zone. Galán was rushed to the Bosa Hospital, then transferred to Kennedy Hospital in Bogota for emergency treatment. But the injuries were too severe. Despite the efforts of the top trauma specialists, Luis Carlos Galán was pronounced dead. His funeral was held just 2 days later. On August 19th, 1989, viewing took place at the House of Representatives, where thousands paid their respects. The next day, funeral procession made its way through Bogota's streets to Central Cemetery, where Galán was laid to rest. The nation mourned, but justice was only beginning. 3 men would ultimately stand trial for orchestrating and enabling Galán's murder. John Jairo Velázquez, known as Pablo Escobar's top hitman. General Miguel Maza Marquez, former director of Colombia's DAS intelligence agency. And Alberto Santofimio Botero, a former minister of justice. Popeye surrendered voluntarily at the Itagüí police station. There, he confirmed to a horrifying list of crimes, including Galán's assassination. General Massa Marquez surrendered to Bogota's DAS office and was held in the Colombian Supreme Court's detention center. Botero, on the other hand, was arrested publicly by CTI agents on May 12, 2005, as he was spotted near a supermarket in Armenia. He was processed at the Fiscalia and held in their local cell block. Prosecutor Ramon Izaza brought formal charges for Popeye, murder, terrorism, conspiracy, organized crime, and illegal weapons possession. For Marquez, conspiracy, obstruction, corruption, and accessory to murder. And for Botero, aid in murder, conspiracy, organized crime, and corruption. Their first court appearance took place in the Superior Court of Medellin and Bogota's Palace of Justice. In Medellin, Magistrate Richard Martinez ordered Popeye detained and transferred his case to Bogota. In Bogota, Magistrate Jorge Mejia ordered that both Marquez and Botero be held in custody. They were represented by public defenders at their arraignment before Judge Melesio Garcia. All 3 pleaded not guilty. Popeye was booked into the La Picota prison in Bogota. Soon the trial began. Before the Colombian courts, each defendant maintained their innocence. But the evidence said otherwise. Judge Garcia found all 3 men guilty on all charges. Popeye and Marquez were each sentenced to 30 years in prison. Botero to 24 years. They were separated across Colombia's harshest prisons. Popeye was sent to the Convita prison in Boyacá. Marquez began serving time at the Cespo detention facility in Bogota. Botero was assigned to the La Picota prison in Bogota, one of the country's most notorious ones. All 3 appealed their convictions. The Supreme Court agreed to reduce Popeye's sentence to 28 years. Botero's conviction was overturned, But in a retrial, he was convicted again. Marquez's conviction was upheld to the fullest. Eventually, Botero was granted house arrest in 2017, but his freedom did not last. In 2019, he violated his release conditions and was sent back to La Picota. He was re-released in 2020, this time under supervision only. In 2023, he completed that supervision, and now he is completely free. Popeye, on the other hand, suffered a different fate. He was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, transferred from La Tramacua prison in Valledupar to the Colombian National Cancer Institute. On February 6, 2020, he died in a hospital bed. Marquez remains behind bars to this day. The death of Luis Carlos Galán was more than a political assassination. It was a message from the underworld. But justice, however delayed, came knocking, and for many in Colombia, it was the first time the powerful learned that impunity has an expiration date. I'm Santiago, and I'll see you next time when justice writes its next chapter. I would like to mention that today is the Independence Day of Colombia, July 20th, as they call it, 20 de Julio. So, Happy Independence Day, Colombia, and I'm gonna say it in Spanish. Feliz 20 de Julio, Colombia. Have a good rest of your day.